going to call the meeting to order. And seating, we're fine. We have a list of postponements. So when you're ready, I'll read the 9 items that we're going to postpone. And I'll make this in a form of a motion to postpone on the regular agenda. Item 4, final proposal 2022-91. Number 6, the Liquor Commission. Number 20. Number 7, automated pharmacy systems, item 15. Number 8, Board of Veterinary Medicine. Number 90, ethical standards. Number 10, item Department of Revenue Administration, Rule 85, Rule 104, Rule 105, and number 85 will also require a waiver request. And number 11, the PUC, Municipal and County Aggregation Rules. Can I have a second?
Mr. Chair, I just want to bring to your attention 9C, which is 2294, is also on the list for postponement.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I'll add number 94, number 9.
I'll be your second, Mr. Chair.
Okay, motion by the chair, second by Schmidt. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Question, Mr. Chair, who is that Representative Tucker going to be seated for?
Pick one.
Pick one.
Yeah.
Becky, which one do you want to make?
Representative Tucker could sit for Representative Hatch.
Okay.
Okay. We need a motion to approve the,
Second.
We already voted on the postponement.
I think the motion was to approve the consent calendar.
And before moving on to the consent items, if I could just advise that first we address the minutes.
yes, well, I was getting to that.
I'll move on the minutes.
Motion by Gray, second by Schmidt to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Now, Senator Gray. You have your motion to approve the consent.
Second.
And a second by Schmidt. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Department of Safety, item 5.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item 5A, we have not yet received the response to the preliminary objection from the Department of Safety.
Okay, and a motion then to postpone that.
So moved.
Motion by Lang, second by Tucker. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Board of Veterinary Medicine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is currently on the regular agenda only because the veterinary previous rule for fees for the veterinary board had expired. However, at the July meeting, the OPLC had put forward rules for fees as was discussed at that particular meeting, and encompassed in those rules were the new fees for the veterinary board. It was in PLC 1002.44. Since the July meeting, those rules have been adopted. They were adopted on August 1st, 2022. So there are now rules in effect for the veterinary board to collect fees. And that's the only reason that's on the agenda, is I just wanted to bring that to the committee's attention to see if they had any questions regarding that, and to also remind the committee that the OPLC represented at the July meeting that they had not been collecting fees prior to the enactment of their rule.
Tell us who you are.
Hello, my name is Lauren Warner. I am General Counsel at the OPLC.
And your comment.
I was just here if you had any questions regarding whether or not collecting fees during that time in which they were expired. But Attorney Ricard had already noted at that time, OPLC had not been collecting fees once the vet rules had expired up until we started collecting fees again when the OPLC 1002s came into an effect.
Okay. Do we need to take any action?
Not at this time, I had that on the regular agenda because of the fee issue, but also the rules themselves are expired. So in case the committee also had any general questions about the rules being expired and what action the board has been taking with regard to licenses and registrations with the expired rules.
So the board has been approving applications during the time, but has not been collecting fees, as the board did not have authority to collect the fees, but still had the authority in which to approve and review applications. Since 2019, when the vet board came over to OPLC, we've been working with the board to draft rules. I know we have a number of initial proposals and conditional currently with OLS, as well as a few more that will be coming through. So we're working through updating all of their rules at this time.
And you'll have that done.
I think so. I apologize. I'm not the one that works on the vet rules. I'm covering for someone today, but we should have that done by the end of the year. I know a number of them are going through each board meeting. They're working on rules. So I know we have the 500s. If this is the 300s, I wouldn't expect it to be very long before the entire rules are updated.
Okay. Veterinary medicine has a long checkered history with Gelcar, so somebody should try a little bit harder.
Yes, and I know OPLC has been working regularly with the board, especially since I've come on in May.
Okay. Any questions? Peter?
So is the executive director in today? Because I would like to speak with her about some other issues, but I would, if she is in, I will discuss with her the question that the chair has raised with regard to where we are on this, because
She had a family conflict this morning, so she will be in later today. That's why I'm here right now.
thank you.
Is there?
So, Mr. Chair, this particular rule did have a conditional approval request and an amended conditional approval request, so the committee will just need to vote on whether to accept those prior to voting on the rule.
And you're good.
I am good, yes, thank you.
Okay. Need a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Gray, second by Lang. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And just to be clear, Mr. Chair, the vote was on the conditional approval request
Both.
and the amended? Thank you.
Yes. Okay, HHS.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with regard to item 9A on the agenda, 2022-44, the agency had submitted a conditional approval request. The conditional approval request addressed the majority of staff comments. The only two remaining issues were, first is a legislative intent comment on page 1. That comment is that these rules have been expired for a little while now, since January 1st of 2022. So the committee may have questions about how the agency has been enforcing this particular rule since it's been expired. The second comment is also on page 1. It's an edit unclear comment. The initial proposal had cited to RSA 161J4, which laid out the requirements for a standard disclosure summary. The comment asked that they also include RSA 161J5, which has a requirement that the standard disclosure summary be provided to the potential resident 24 hours in advance prior to the resident moving into the particular organization's rooming. So the agency, the comment was misunderstood by the agency, and the agency deleted RSA 161J4 to replace it with RSA 161J5, which does address the issue of the notice. However, the comment states that they can put back in RSA 161J4 to lay out the requirements of what's needed on the standard disclosure summary statement.
And your new faces, so tell us who you are.
I've been here before, but hello, my name is Nicole Valenzola. I am the Administrative Rules Coordinator at Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Brian Clark. I'm a policy administrator for the Bureau of Elderly and Adult Services.
And your comment, your response.
With respect to the edit unclear on the first page there for 60504A, yes, correct. Reading the note from OLS was misinterpreted as it only referenced 161J5. We are going to include both reference to J4 and J5. We did include the language that was recommended by OLS. So we will make that edit and submit that.
And regarding whether we've been enforcing the rule while it's expired, we have not.
Okay.
Nothing further from me.
Yeah. Yes.
Carol?
I have a question on how you can. I'm concerned that for 3 years you haven't been enforcing a rule. Because why do you need it in that case? I mean, or why, or how are you managing to run your operation without necessary rules?
This rule expired in January. I think you're looking at the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is only this year's. Thank you. That's a good question. I will reserve my comments for the next rule.
Okay.
You ready?
And?
At this time, I have no further comments. If committee would like to take up the voting on this particular conditional approval request.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Gray, second by McGuire. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And Rule 76.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this rule, there was only one comment on page 1. Once again, as a legislative intent comment, as this rule is also expired, and this rule has been expired since November 18th of 2019. So the committee may have questions about how the agency has been enforcing this particular rule, or if they have.
Now, Tell us about this.
For the record, again, Nicole Valenzola, Rules Coordinator for Department of Health and Human Services. I will let Brian Clark speak to the expiration.
Hi, Brian Clark, Bureau of Elderly and Adult Services. So what happened here is in 2019, when the rule was scheduled to expire, the department was planning legislation to change how the ADRD respite care program worked in 2020. And unfortunately, the rule expired in the interim. And then in 2020, the legislation was set to, we're planning to readopt the rule in 2020 under the new legislation that would change the program. However, COVID-19 shifted priorities both within the department and presumably within the legislator, and the bill was laid on the table. And so that brings us to today. The legislation was recently passed, and now we are readopting to enact it. In the interim, we have had a budget allocated to this program. We have been spending it. We have been contracting with contract agencies to run this program. And there is a statute, RSA 161F 65 through 70, requiring this program to exist.
That's very nice. How many other of your rules have expired or are about to expire?
Are you requesting specifically for Bureau of Adult Services?
Well, HHS is a very large department, and it
Yes.
has people like administrative rules coordinators. And so if you could tell us for the whole department, I'd like to know, because I'm extremely concerned that you can go for 3 years without a rule to run a statutorily managed program.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't, Allison Dono can speak if she wishes. I couldn't tell you an exact number.
Sorry. Good morning, Allison Radmay, Administrator of the Administrative Rules Unit here for the Department of Health and Human Services. The department is, I'm sorry, becoming more staffed, and we are individually working with specific programs to get their rules up and running, whichever is expired. I don't have a complete total for you, but that is a priority of ours. We're a large agency, as you know. We have over 3,000 rules, and we're trying really hard to get them brought forward here.
Yeah, pardon me, I think it's ridiculous that an organization like that can not know how many of its rules are expired or expiring. And how on earth can you manage to run your operation without effective rules? I don't know how you can do it, and I'm very concerned.
Senator Whitley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for taking my question. Just sort of on that line, I know that in past budget years, there have been cuts to the department. So I'm wondering if you're aware of, sort of the vacancy rate. And I know there were freezes on hiring. And so can you speak to how those vacancies, inability to hire, cuts to your staff have impacted your ability to look at those expired rules?
So since I've been here, almost 5 years now, there's only been one, sometimes two of us in the unit. As to speaking for the whole department, I am not sure that is above me and what I have knocked up.
Follow up? Thank you, Mr. Chair. And it's more of a comment, but if you do need more staff, then I would hope that you would come, to the legislature in the upcoming budget cycle to make sure that you have the appropriate staff to fulfill your. Thanks.
We're trying. Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Allison, we're all cognizant of the fact that the COVID has played havoc with a lot of things in this country and on the planet for that matter. But one of the things that Representative McGuire has just spoken to is the concern that we all have is that you don't know what you don't know effectively. So that is something that I think, to the degree that you possibly can get a handle on, what's out there. It's kind of like we never look in that room. We don't know what's in that room and so forth. Well, it's not, obviously, we understand the pandemic has been a major factor in all of this, but the bottom line is we simply have to get a better handle on what's out there, including all these expired rules that are potentially playing havoc with orderly functioning. Can't have that.
May I respond? Yes, we do agree. And actually, we have been working on creating an internal database of going through every single rule. It's something that we are working on and we have created. With that being said, due to the workload, that's something that's being balanced along with, for example, I've had 55 rules myself since January. So it's just balancing between prioritizing those rules. But we are building a rule by rule, section by section of the status of everything. When this was brought up to us many months ago, it's something that we did immediately begin doing.
There's a similar effort happening at the administrative rules, so, for everybody else. So
Perhaps they should be working together.
to approve this.
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion to approve Rule 7.6. Motion by Gray, second by Ward. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Okay, the rule's approved. In spite of the lengthy list of postponements, we will carry those over to the next regular
Mr. Chair,
meeting.
I apologize for interrupting. I didn't want to have DHHS leave because I have a question for them under other business. So if we can get the attorney back. What's that? Yes.
Yes, what was your question? I'm sorry. We don't have an attorney
I'll
here
wait till we
with
get to
us.
other business, but I
Does
didn't want
this
them to.
pertain to administrative rules?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, this is that question I sent about administrative rules and the fact that under House Bill 1035, we changed the criteria for vaccination exemption at schools to remove the notary requirement. And yet, under the new form that DHHS put forward, they now ask a bunch of medical questions in alignment with asking parents to acknowledge risk to things, that none of which was in the law that was passed. And so I'm concerned about how a form was changed without coming before JALCAR, and B, how the new conditions apply. And 3, it appears there's 2 different forms on the DHHS website, one for childcare in schools. So I'm concerned that it didn't come through rules process for the form change and for the information, and we haven't seen any rules around that form. And I just want to have the agency bring that forward.
Thank you. I personally cannot speak to that at this time. I'm taking down some notes to bring back to the department, and I'm not certain if Allison, she's the administrator of the unit, it's she and I together are the unit. This could be something that she's been working on, and I'm just not involved in that. But you said the House bill was, did you say 1035?
House Bill 1035.
1035.
It just removed the notary requirement, which so we
Right.
expected it just being my kid's unvaccinated due to the fact that they have a religious exemption, period.
Yep.
But the new form says he's exempt from certain, it has you check off which vaccines they
Oh.
are. It makes parents acknowledge risk.
I think is that's in statute, right? Is that?
Yes, it's there's part of it
Yeah,
under statute,
yeah.
but not the things you're asking for.
Okay, so
aren't
it
in
goes above and
statute at all.
beyond the statute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And you said you saw it for both public school systems and private childcare?
Right. So there's a form. I'm on your website, and there's
Mhm.
one form that's dated. It was last time it was revised. It says it was 5/18, and that's for certification for religious exemption in child care programs and immunization. And then there's another form you have that's titled New Hampshire Child Care School Immunization Religious Exemption. So you have 2 different forms, and that one's dated July of 22.
Okay.
And so both forms are on your website.
Mhm.
One still requires a notary requirement, and the other one asks for information that's way beyond the scope of the change of the law.
Okay. Let's go. I will bring this back to Allison as soon as I get back to the office, and I will make her aware and have her, look and do it, what have you, and speak to the attorney who does work with immunizations. And I'm new to this. Do you want Allison to reach out to OLS attorney and? Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Representative McGuire.
Have her,
Yes. Oh, I'm concerned also that the department has no authority to adopt this sort of form without going through this process. And if it's dated in July, that means we should have seen it last month, and we didn't.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. I will see what happened. I don't
That's-
know if a department or an individual for some reason created a form and posted it without our knowledge, but it's been brought to our attention. We don't have full control over the website and who posts things, so a unit could technically do
Yes.
that, which isn't okay.
If you could make sure that anyone who posts anything has had it properly approved, or make the owner of the website know that, because it is very distressing that random people can create a form that is a rule that has the effect of law and just plop it on your website without anyone reviewing it.
Yeah,
And
no,
I- as
I
if-
agree.
And if I understand it, that's what happened.
Yeah, it says each unit does have an individual who can upload to the website, and that, you're correct, of course, isn't the proper channel. It's a bigger issue, clearly, and I'll bring it up to those above me to probably have to speak across to departments.
Edith.
Given that schools will open soon and this form, which apparently has not been properly approved, will be in effect, I think we need to do something today to take a recess so that someone could check right now. But it doesn't seem to me that this form should be left there and in force for the beginning of school, which is very, very soon. I noticed the other day when I was out campaigning that one of the towns is opening August 29th. So that must be, it's a little later usually in the North Country because of the Lancaster Fair, but many schools are opening this month. And so this is a really important thing, I think, to take a recess and see whether we can deal now with getting that
Okay, we're
off.
not going to try to revamp their posting system.
It's not the
on a-
posting
on a re-
system, it's that parents are going to have to fill this out apparently. Is
Okay.
that not who it's directed towards, Representative Lang? I'm
Right.
just tagging on. I haven't talked with Representative Lang in advance, so perhaps he could give a little more information about why he's concerned.
So again, the form is posted up online, and if parents looking for an exemption form, that's the form they're going to find on DHH's website. So, and it's a form that's not been vetted properly and should be taken off the website.
I also want to bring to the committee's attention that it appears that we do have an interim rule with our Office 2022-5 that should be on the September agenda that this discussion may be able to address at that time.
Okay, so we're looking for assurance from the department today that the guilty form has been removed and report to the Jelcar staff.
And just for clarification, Attorney Ricard, the interim rule that's in place doesn't cover Representative Lang's concerns, correct? Like it's not part of that rule.
All I know is that we currently have a interim rule. I've just been notified by one of the other staff members that there's a rule that this discussion will happen on the September agenda. I have not personally looked at the rule, so I don't know what's in
Okay.
there.
Can you give me that rule number or the notice number or either?
Yes, it's interim rule 2022-5.
Okay. It's HEP something, 300 something.
I-
No,
I just have
that's
the-
okay.
I
I
just
think-
have our internal number.
That's fine.
And I also just want to
Terms today that.
reiterate the committee's concerns that if a form is not approved by jail card, that it cannot be used.
Carol?
Yes, I'd like to mention that this sounds like an ideal application of the emergency update to forms. Because the law passed, you want to have it before the beginning of school, and it should have been able to be very quickly implemented. And would hope that the department is aware of that option.
Yes, I will speak to them about the expedited revision to form process, should that have been, if this is something that we can even do, though, 'cause it sounds like there's concern that it's above and beyond the scope regardless. But yes, I will bring this straight to Allison when I get back and speak to the proper interchannels. And then Allison will reach out to OLS attorneys today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, so with that, we're adjourned.
No continued meeting.
No, no.